Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dead Pundit Society. So it's been a little while since we've made a video. Life's been kind of hectic the last couple weeks, but we thought it'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the World Cup that just kicked off in the US. I think a lot of interesting things to talk about that maybe we haven't really seen in other World Cups. Something that immediately stands out to me is these hydration breaks. Obviously that's not something that's new to football. Like it
Yeah.
normally happens when there's a certain heat threshold that's been reached. But a lot of the games that I've seen so far have not even been in like that hot conditions. Like a lot of the ones in Mexico and Canada, it's kind of like hovered around the
Yeah.
25-ish degrees threshold. And then something that they said they weren't going to do is do it purposefully as an extra ad break. But that seems
Which is
like the
clearly what
direction
it's
they've been
become.
taken. So what are as an American, you're probably a lot more exposed to American
Yeah.
sports. What do you think of this quasi-Americanization of football that is
Uh,
going on?
yeah, I hate it. Just like very simply put. We were talking about it at work. I think it's terrible. Um, it's one thing to put like hydration breaks if the World Cup's happening in a place like Qatar or Brazil, where it's like over 30 degrees Celsius and the players
Yeah,
are
or even
playing in the
even New
sunlight.
York. I mean, New York, it's like
Yeah, but
30
even
degrees most days.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But it's another thing when it's like 21 degrees in fucking Calgary and they're having a hydration break. Like what is that? There's zero purpose outside of advertising. Yeah, it's an intense topic to start off on, but I'll summarize it very succinctly. I think it's a massive shame and disgrace. I don't think it should be happening the way it is. I think Gianni Infantino is also to blame. Everyone's blaming it on the US, which is a huge part for sure. I mean, American sports, are known for having pauses for ad breaks, but I blame Infantino as well. I think it's a bit of a sellout, and I hope that it doesn't continue past this World
Yeah,
Cup,
I
as
mean,
they've said.
it just seems like a another symptom of this broader disease, which I would say is kind of the commercialization of the sport, especially of the World Cup. I mean, we're seeing big things as well. Like ticket prices are really insane compared to past editions. Like I think I was seeing ticket prices for the group stages are averaging around $200 or something, which is really not what football fans are used to, right? Like a lot of football fans that maybe come from more humble, background are really being priced out of this World Cup. So it's a shame. And obviously, it's not all down to FIFA. I think American events tend to be more expensive because Americans tend to have more
Yeah,
disposable income. But and
yeah.
it's more of a show. But going back to the cooling break, it's also kind of interesting because I didn't really thought about this, but there's 2 points I want to bring up. So first of all, a lot of these stadiums actually are have completely retractable roofs as well, right? Which
Yeah,
means that
I've seen that.
you know
It's pretty
you're
crazy.
you're not even playing in like the ambient conditions. Like you're playing in an air conditioned or like temperature controlled environment, and so it even makes this drinking break a bit more bewildering. But something else that I'd actually not thought about, my uncle actually brought this up when I was talking to him, is that it's a bit of a fundamental change of how football is being played in a way, right? Because football is two
100%.
45-minute halves, and obviously that requires a certain level of stamina, right, to get through those 45 minutes without a break. And now having that break in between, right, like I think it does something, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's favoring one team or another, but it definitely changes the way the game's played a little bit now that you know that you have this resting period. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see how that if that has any effect on the tournament. I mean, I doubt it will, but it's a bit like when they brought in the five subs post COVID, right? Like that also kind of changed
Yeah.
the way that football was being played. So I don't know. I think it's
100%.
just some interesting topics that I've been thinking about over the last few days, and I wanted to bring them up. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, you're not a fan of these cooling breaks, obviously, as we've
No.
established. But what do you think about some of these other issues that we're seeing, like the insane ticket prices? Not even insane ticket prices only, but also insane transport prices. Like I don't know if you saw, but there's this train from like Penn Station to the MetLife Stadium in Jersey, which normally costs about $10, I think, and for the World
Mm,
Cup it's about $90 or something. So
yeah.
they've jacked up the price for that as well. I mean, I don't know. Like I think some of these things are being rightfully criticized, but at the end of the day, how much influence does FIFA really have over business practices in a certain country, right? Like that's another question.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I don't want fans to be priced out of watching games or going to the stadium, especially when you factor in the international fans, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I want domestic fans to enjoy whenever it's a big honor for any country or countries to host the World Cup. And that's like a really cool thing when you see the local fans getting involved. I thought it was very cool, especially, the notable World Cups you might think back to are like South Africa, Brazil, these ones where like you could really feel that local culture and presence. With that said, I think for the international fans, you have people from Korea or Iran or Australia traveling so far to watch their team play. Um, it's a shame that on top of all the ticket prices and the cost of, hotel that sorry, the ticket prices for their travel, and on top of the hotel, they're having to pay maybe exuberant prices on the matches. I think that that's a bit of a shame, but
Yeah,
so
I mean,
far,
we'll see.
oh
We'll see
yeah,
how it goes. Well, what are your
yeah,
what are
but
your
so
first thoughts? Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say, I will say going into this World Cup, and something we talked about a lot at work, I feel like the hype wasn't there as much as previous World Cups, man. Maybe it has to do with all the things that are going on in the world, like geopolitically, economically, but I felt really like the hype wasn't there as much as in the past, and I think that's been the case before. It was also different with Qatar, but I will say now that it's kicked off and that we're in it and that we're starting to see, the scenes of like fans in Atlanta from these other countries or fans in Texas and like the interactions. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's been a pretty cool melting pot so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I agree that there's been maybe a bit less hype than in previous editions. Something that has kind of been confirmed a little bit is that with the expansion, I do think that there's just a lot less jeopardy in the group stages. Like I feel like the group
That's true.
stages are less interesting because first of all, you don't
Yeah.
really have a group of death anymore. I mean, France's group is, I guess, the most difficult one probably,
Yeah.
but it's not really a group of death. Like I don't know, in 2014 you had Italy, Uruguay, and England all in one group with only two spots, right, to qualify. I feel like now.
And what was the 2010 one, the famous one? I think it was Germany, USA, Portugal, and
Yeah, and
someone
like
else.
Ghana or something. Like, it was like
It was
really an
something
insane
crazy
group.
like that.
And
Yeah.
so the thing is,
Anyways,
I think there's
yeah.
just not as much jeopardy because you have, just with even if you get one win and two losses, the chance that you go through is pretty high as a third place team. And
Yeah.
and I think also the expansion has brought some quite uneven matchups. Like, I mean, bringing us to one of our topics for today, right? Like, I was gonna say our teams like Curacao, for example, which obviously, there's a big imbalance between them and Germany, and it was really reflected in the game. But then other games where on paper it should be the case, but in reality it wasn't, right? And I'm thinking specifically about Australia against Turkey. Like I think a lot of
Yep.
people, me included, really thought that Turkey was going to win that game handily. And I was quite shocked. I mean, I didn't watch
Mm.
it, the game, but I picked up the highlights. It was at like 6 in the morning in Europe, so
Yeah.
it was tough to
I
follow that one. But
I
but
will
yeah, Australia came away with a victory there.
I will say, I said this months ago. I've gotten a lot of stuff wrong in this World Cup already, of course. But I did say months ago when we were recording our initial predictions, you, me, and Julian, that I've been burned by Turkey when I had them as a dark horse in 2021. And ever since, I've just lost my faith. I think I had them not doing that well. So, did I expect them to lose to Australia and like a rather convincing performance from Australia? No. But was I completely shocked? Definitely not. A really big game that, as we record this, wrapped up a little earlier today. That was an insane upset. I mean, we might as well hop to it. Is Spain drawing 0-0 against Cape Verde or Cabo
That
Verde?
was crazy.
That's insane to me, man. That I honestly expected Spain to score at least 4 or 5 goals
Yeah, I
easily,
mean, I think in my bracket I had like a 7-0 prediction.
which isn't even
Partly,
insane.
yeah, partly
Yeah.
brought on to the fact that Spain put seven past Costa Rica in the last World Cup, and Costa Rica is a far better team than Cabo Verde, and Spain is also a far better team now than they were 4 years ago. So, because they were playing like Rodri at center back, I remember that was so weird, like one of the weirdest
Yeah,
things I've
that's
ever
true. They
seen.
were doing that. I forgot
But
about
uh,
that.
but uh, no, I mean it's really insane. I mean, I just having watched the game, my first reaction is a very poor performance from Spain. I mean, I think we're going to need to see a lot more from them. I think for me, they're actually my winner of the tournament. I do think they'll work it out as it goes on, but this was not a good first game. I mean, sure, people will say Lamine wasn't playing for most of it. He came on in like the 70th minute. Nico Williams wasn't playing for most of it. He came on like the 80th minute. But still, I think Spain is going to have a big problem if they don't have a striker that can score, right? And so in the Euros, I feel like Oyarzabal took a lot of that, not necessarily even goal scoring burden, but just link up play, like really like linking the ball to the wingers quite well,
Yeah,
being
being unselfish.
being the glue that brought that attack together. He looked pretty shaky today. Ferran Torres looked awful today, and I actually like had
He's just,
quite good hopes for him for this
yeah,
tournament because for Spain he's
fair.
normally quite good. I know that Dior. We should bring Dior on the show one of these days. I know that he's a massive Ferran hater. Like you can't stand the guy.
He
On,
doesn't hate him, but I do, but he has been traumatized.
there were
Yeah, I
like three
think,
or four chances that he should have scored today, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people are
dude,
talking about the goalie
he's
of Cabo
bad.
Verde, and he has had a few, he did have a few good saves, to be fair. A lot of the shots were straight at him, though. Like Spain really needs to do a lot better.
Dude,
And I mean, Lamine
and
didn't look
yeah,
fresh when he came on either. So I think, I mean, he hasn't played for like a month and a half. So I think that will come as the tournament progresses. But he
yeah,
looked pretty off it today as well when he did come on in those last
yeah.
20 minutes.
I do think it's a bit of a niche point I'm about to bring up, but you just reminded me bringing up their goalkeeper. I feel like the World Cup in the past, we've seen a lot of like keepers that are unknown or little known, might be kind of like sleeper picks, so to say, really come into their element and showcase how good they are because of the nature of the international tournament, right? The players don't know each other as well. The tactics aren't as developed. A lot of the goals are more just like individual brilliance rather than, a team collective goal. Some ones that stand out in the past, I remember the Algerian goalkeeper being
Yeah.
insane in 2014.
Tim
Like
Howard
that
as well.
guy. Tim Howard, 2014, a man possessed. I mean, we
I
can bring up
mean,
the man who's in his what fifth World Cup,
Guillermo
Ochoa.
Ochoa. He's not playing this World Cup though. He's on the
Yeah,
bench.
which is a shame, dude. I really wanted him to, but he's late 30s now. I get it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I think he might even like have passed 40 at this point. Like he's really,
really? Wow.
but no, I mean, I get what you mean. I mean, also I think the nature of international football is very different, right? I mean, especially for smaller countries like Cabo Verde, like this is the biggest game of that guy's career, right? And might be the biggest game he ever plays against Spain in the World Cup group stage. And in
For
general,
sure.
for footballers, playing football is a job, right? So, but when they're in international duty, like you're doing it for something more than just the paycheck. Because I mean, the players get money if they perform, but it's very minimal, right, compared to what they're making at
Right.
club level for a lot of them. So I think there's
100%.
an element of national pride of seeing like all your guys in the stadium. I mean, a team like Cabo Verde, I think their country has like 500,000 people or something. If they got like
Or
20,000 in the stadium,
Curacao, 200,000 or 300,000. Yeah,
right? You have like a large part of your country like actively in the stadium with you, right? So I think it's just a very different
that's so
level of
true.
motivation. And it's cool to see, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I am rooting for Spain, given that Italy isn't in the tournament. But I do think
Yeah.
Spain, grows from this. In 2010, they famously lost the first game to Switzerland, and then went on to win the tournament. A lot of Spanish press is trying to draw parallels now. They're like, oh, like Mexico against South Africa was also the first game in 2010, and look what happened. So I don't know. Like, I do think that they have a lot to improve, but I do have faith in the Spanish team. I mean, their
Mm,
squad is just insane. So I think they'll still comfortably top of the group. Personally,
yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I mean, their next game I think is against
There's
Uruguay, and that'll
yeah.
be a good one. So,
I
but
know I know we're jumping a bit all over the place, but there was one or two games I feel like we have to mention. Obviously, there's some big ones. We can talk about the US winning 4-1, which I was honestly impressed by. I thought their performance was quite good compared to what I personally expected. My expectations were
yeah,
low.
no,
We
they
can
played
talk
well.
about Germany 7-1. I mean, that was I saw something online. I wanted to get your opinion. I assume you're going to agree with me, but I saw people in the comments of like there was a meme making fun of the German players celebrating, like scoring a seventh goal against Curacao. And people in the comments were like, this is the first time I've ever wanted there to be a mercy rule. And I saw a comment replying to it, a German guy saying, he had a lot of likes as well. He was saying, guys, the fact that like we're taking them this seriously is like a sign of respect, you know? Like, yeah, they could have
Yeah, yeah,
just
exactly.
switched
No,
off at
I
like
agree.
4-0, 5-0, but the fact that they're going for every goal, they're really trying is a sign of respect to Curacao. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I agree. If I was in that position, I'd rather get absolutely pumped than
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I agree 100%. I mean, we both played football, right? Like, and there's probably times where we play against a team that's far better than you. Like, I'd much rather lose like 10-0 and like deserve it than lose 3-0 and the other team is just passing the ball around the
Yeah.
back for like the whole second half. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I do think Germany's looking really good, man. Like, I know it's only
They are
Curacao,
looking
right?
good.
Like Curacao,
Yeah.
are the strongest team. Defensively, I do think Germany does have some work to do because Curaçao's goal was like they really should not have conceded that, and there were a couple
Mm.
cases where Curacao kind of ripped them wide open. Like I do think that Schlotterbeck top partnership needs a bit of work, but they're looking good. Their forward line is looking very good,
Their
man. To
forward
be
line and also their center mid was a standout. Is it Felix
yeah,
Mecha?
yeah. Metch has been good
Really,
so
really
far.
good. I
I mean,
had like
I've
heard of him years ago on FIFA, but I didn't really know anything of him outside of that, and he was very good.
yeah, he's been good, and to be honest, it's interesting. We should maybe discuss it with Dior as well. We managed to get him on in one of these next episodes. But a lot of Germans were actually not very happy about the squad selection. They like a lot of them weren't happy with Nagelsmann choosing a lot of the big club players, people like Sané, right? Like that haven't really performed. Rudiger hasn't
Yeah,
really been playing that well recently as well, right?
I wasn't
And
that impressed
so
by Zende, but
it'll be
yeah,
interesting to see how like what Dior thinks about it, but I think their team is good. I mean, I have them making the semis actually, so I'm quite bullish on Germany
it's
this
good.
time around.
It's a good
Also
prediction.
because statistically, Germany's made the semis almost every World Cup. Like if you look at the statistics, I think out of like 23 World Cups, it made the semis like 15 or 16 times. Like they're really one of the most consistent teams out there historically. But no, I think they're looking good, to be honest. We'll see. They'll have tougher tests in their next matches against Ecuador and
Yeah,
against Croatia, but I don't know,
there's
man. I could see them doing a deep run for sure.
I agree. Another game I wanted to mention briefly, even though it feels like it was a long time ago now, even though it was only about 3 days ago, was South Korea, Czechia or Czech Republic. I didn't watch that game live because it was at like 2 or 3 a.m. here. It was really late. I watched the highlights the next day. Uh, I was really impressed by South Korea, man. I was really, really impressed. Something that brought me a lot of joy is that there's a South Korean center mid. He's a starter. I think he was easily man of the match. Hwang In-byam. This guy, I will say, claim to fame. FIFA 20, he was a star for my career mode. He was the main man, the engine in the midfield back when he played for the Vancouver Whitecaps. And he was kind of an unknown. Now he's playing in the Dutch Eredivisie, but he was like, at one point he was playing in Turkey and then he was playing in Greece. He's kind of been all over the place. He was amazing, even outside of the goal he scored. The goal was great. I don't know if you saw it, but the flick over the goalkeeper bounces into the side netting. South Korean goalkeeper, I also wanted to give him a shout out. He looked terrified in the first 15 minutes. I unfortunately don't know his name, but then he made a couple huge saves against the Czech Republic. And yeah, impressive performance overall by South Korea.
No, that looked like a good game. Again, I also didn't watch it live because it was really late here, but I did catch the highlights. I think a couple other games that we should briefly touch upon. I was very impressed by Japan against the
Yeah,
Netherlands. I mean, I
dude, my
actually
dark
predicted a
horse.
draw. Yeah, I predicted a draw. So not a 2-2. I predicted a 1-1, but I think
Yeah,
they, yeah, they played well. I mean, the Netherlands is looking good as well, to be honest. Like, I liked what I saw, but defensively they are a bit fragile. So that's something they're going to
which is
definitely need to
shocking
improve
because
upon. I mean, their
on
defense is
paper,
one
their
of the
defense
best.
is the
Yeah.
best part of their
Yeah,
team.
I mean
I mean,
they've
for
got
me,
Mickey Van de Ven, they've got Van
Van
Dijk,
Dijk, Van
obviously
Heck.
Van Heck. De Ligt is injured, I think, or I'm not sure if he's in the squad or not. I'm pretty sure he's injured, but he might be in the squad. But Yoel Hato, I think, might be in their squad. Like they've got some good depth at
Dude, even
center back,
Urian, yeah,
especially.
Urian Timber. Yeah.
But up front, they were looking good as well. I mean, I think Daniel Malin had quite a good game. He didn't score, but he had quite some good chances. Depay was kind of a
Somerville.
liability. Yeah, Somerville's
Yeah.
looking very good. He scored a banger
Depay
actually
was, dude,
on his.
Depay was bad, dude. He came on and he
Yeah,
committed a really dumb foul. Like that was quite stupid. I don't know what that was.
yeah. But no, I think they're
But
looking
Japan
good.
were
But
great, man.
so far,
Daiki
great start for them. Yeah.
and Daiki Kamada is actually I'm pretty sure he's a free agent this summer because he was playing for Crystal Palace, did well. For some reason, I guess they chose not to renew his contract. I think he's a free agent this summer. He's a very good player. He
Yeah,
had a
it'd be
lot of
someone good
success in
to pick
Germany.
up. Yeah,
He
exactly.
could be picked up by maybe not like a top four team in the top leagues, but like I could definitely see him getting picked up for one of those Europa League
Yeah, like maybe
competitors.
like a Brentford or Bournemouth or something. I don't know, like a team that needs that kind of
Yeah,
experience. But
but that
no, I
was
mean that's yeah,
one of the
that
best
was a
games so
great
far
game
for
as well.
sure.
I think another game, the last game maybe to focus on is Brazil against Morocco. I think that was, I
Disappointing,
mean, it
man.
wasn't a good match per se, but it was
Morocco was very good
interesting
though,
how
has
good
to be
Morocco
said.
was. Yeah,
Bro,
and especially that
impressive.
guy, the midfielder, I think Boadi or
Buadi,
something like
another
the
career
18
mode legend,
guy.
dude.
He was
Yeah.
looking insane, and I mean, I wouldn't be
He's been
surprised if he makes a
Dude,
move
he's been playing
following.
in Liga since he was 16. He was a 16-year-old at one point starting for Lille. He was another one that I first discovered who he was through career mode. But he was amazing in that game. I was like, wow, this guy's playing like with wisdom beyond his years. And it has to be
Yeah,
said, I can't claim this statement as my own. I saw Lias Bouzidi saying this in an Instagram video, and I thought it was very interesting. He was pointing out that it feels like, and that game was the perfect example alongside the Japan game, that the gap between the top teams and like the rest of the world is kind of narrowing. Maybe if you don't count, your Spain's, but I mean, you can take Spain and France as examples. He's saying, when you see Japan putting up the fight that they did against the Netherlands, which is historically a huge footballing nation, or you see Morocco absolutely dominating Brazil, who are the most successful international team ever. It's showing you like that these teams are starting to compete. The globalization of football, I guess, is good in that sense.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's more of a case of just these teams have very organized defenses and they're very tactically good. I think it's a in some ways reflecting the trend of football in general, where it's become a lot more system based and player based. And so even though these
Yeah, it's
teams
impressive
maybe
they can
lack
pull it
those
off.
superstars, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. But I think it's it just shows that being defensively resolute does a lot for you. I mean, Morocco in 2022 was amazing at the back.
Yeah, they were
Conceded very few
incredible.
goals, and even like in the semifinal, they did put up somewhat of a fight against France, even though at the end France was a bit too much for them. But no, I mean these teams are showing that they can compete, and on their day they can beat anyone. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Morocco could knock out a really top team if they have their day, and one of the top teams doesn't have their shooting boots on. I mean that could definitely be the case. Yeah, so I think that's a good roundup. I just had a look, and Belgium's actually losing 1-0 to Egypt, so that's
No
interesting.
way.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even have it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have it running, but I didn't pay
So
attention.
it's what a
Oh,
start
Imam
for
Ashur.
Egypt.
Here we
Yeah.
go. This is what, dude. Apparently these
Globalization
smaller
of
nations
football.
are, yeah. Um, well, Mohamed Salah with the assist as well. I mean, that
Yeah.
attack I mean, having Marmoush and Salah
And
is
Salah, I mean,
amazing. But I
it's
have to
such a
admit
luxury. Yeah.
that the back line, I don't know. I think I know their goalkeeper. I've seen him before, but the rest of the back line, I don't know anything of
Yeah. I
for
mean, a lot
Egypt.
of Egypt's players are playing locally or in the Saudi league, for example, like especially the more defensive ones. But no, I mean, it's definitely been an exciting start to the World Cup, notwithstanding all these other issues that we discussed earlier. And
Of course.
yeah, I mean, we'll bring this more regularly as the tournament progresses, just in
Yeah.
these shorter update videos. But for so far, I mean, I'm excited to see how it goes. I think we're missing a couple of the favorites debut. We're missing France tomorrow. I
Tomorrow
think
night,
Argentina
can't
in
wait to
like
watch
2 days or so, and then we'll
against
have a
Algeria.
bigger
Yeah.
picture of the kind of more favored teams to lift. Portugal as well, obviously, playing on the last day, and yeah, we'll see. I mean. But thanks for watching, and let us know what you think. Let us know if we've misrepresented any of your countries in any way, or
Of
maybe if
course.
there's some insights that you could provide about a player from your country or something like that. Yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll catch you on the next one.